Hello everyone and welcome back to the pit. It is once again time to return to the Netherlands and namely to Operation Market Garden. We had our first battle in the Eindhoven sector when the Germans managed to win the battle, thus holding the bridge despite suffering grievous losses. Link for the video if you haven't watched it yet. Today we are fighting in the Nijmegen sector. Two new players, Josh and Davide, will be fighting each other. Once again it will be a battle for a bridge. Before we dive straight into the report itself, remember when you see the army lists that the players were given a briefing which more or less describes the mechanics of the upcoming battle, but they had no idea of what the layout would actually be. So cut them some slack if you feel that some of the troops they chose was not optimal, and also keep in mind that there were strict limitations on what could and could not be used. Once again, go check the video about the overall description of the campaign if you have no idea about what I am saying. This said, let's move on to the battle. Again, now we are in the Nijmegen sector. And specifically, today, our players are fighting over the bridge near the city of Grave. The objective is very simple, is to hold the bridge at game's end or to blow it up for the Germans. Game duration, 8 turns, +1. +1 means that, of course, at the end of turn 8 you have a 50% chance of playing a further turn, or until the bridge blows up, of course. Special rules are the same that were in effect for Battle 1 in the Eindhoven sector. Starting from the end of turn 5, the Germans have the possibility to blow up the bridge on a 5+ if there are no friendly units on it, and if they have a pioneer unit within 12 inches. Said charges can be defused by an American or an allied attacking unit if they are standing on the bridge and they spend a whole turn doing a rally action. As I said, some pretty strict limitation applied on troop choices, especially by the German player. This said, let's move on to the lay of the land and to the forces. For the Germans, we have a Kampfgruppe Chill, 700 points. Josh, the German player for today, for the Nijmegen sector, brought a single rifle platoon and a heavy platoon. In the rifle platoon, we have a platoon commander, regular, 1 leader plus 2 men, all 3 with SMGs, a Heer Grenadier regular squad, 7 men, 1 LMG, 1 Sicherung battalion, they are inexperienced, again 7 men, including 1 LMG, 1 Waffen SS late war regular regiment of 8 men, of which 5 have SMGs and 3 have assault rifles. Why regular? Because historically in the Nijmegen sector there was this SS Polizeischule, and so basically I decided that they were still not veterans, so I counted them as regulars. and another Waffen-SS squad, again regulars, this time only 6 men, but 2 LMGs, a veteran sniper team, a regular truck with additional MMG. The heavy platoon consists of a platoon commander plus 1 attendant, they both have rifles, and 2 medium machine gun teams, all at regular. The truck, with inside the larger Waffen-SS and the rifle platoon commander, will start the game in reserve. Now, this will be seen, of course, as a controversial choice, but again, as I said in the intro, Josh was expecting a different map, so he thought it would be interesting to have a sort of incursion unit that could push deep into the attacker's line. Then, facing them, we have the 82nd Airborne Division, 1000 points, 1 rifle platoon, 1 heavy platoon. In the rifle platoon, we have a platoon commander, leader plus 3 men, 3 rifles, 1 SMG, 2 12-man paratrooper squads with 3 SMGs each, and 2 ad hoc paratroopers with 6 men each, all armed with rifles. Once again, the ad hoc paratroopers are basically the same as normal paratroopers, only they are limited to a maximum of 6 men and 1 SMG. We have a sniper team, 2 light mortars, and finally the heavy platoon with a platoon commander plus 2 men, all armed with rifles, a heavy machine gun, and a medium machine gun with spotter. Of course, all troops are veteran, and they have the airborne special rules where applicable, so they are a whole bunch of stubborn guys. So these are the troops that will be fighting the battle as per scenario rules that I made up. The defender will set up first, and the attacker will start the game with the first wave. Now, this is the gaming table for the battle. We have the bridge itself, so pretty strong piece of terrain, which was actually built by one of my gaming buddies way back in 2017 for the first edition of Market Garden. We have a road here. We have buildings here. They follow, of course, the rules as buildings. The bridge provides hard cover for the units standing on top of it. We have 2 ruins. This small hill is considered a flat terrain. Of course, it blocks line of sight. The bridge itself does not block line of sight below it, except for the pylons that you can somehow see, and you follow through line of sight, basically. We have hard cover here, soft cover here, and again, difficult area terrain that provide soft cover but do not block line of sight here. Small woods here that follow the regular rules of dense terrain, and some bushes. Once again, 1 row of bushes do not block line of sight, but 2 rows do. So basically, if a unit is standing here, it won't see and won't be seen by anyone standing on the other side of the road. This is a river. It's impassable. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring the correct piece of terrain, so I had to make do with 2 small rivers side by side. But again, you get the idea. This is the same terrain seen from another perspective. Keep in mind that the game will be fought over the long side of the table. So the Americans will begin from the south in this image, so just from below here, while the Germans can basically set up wherever they want on the table. Of course, the American infiltrators are allowed to set up within 18 inches from the board. Again, another perspective view of the battlefield. This is the backfield, so to speak. And again, situation overview of the land. We have Josh here, our German player, who is studying the land, deciding where to put his troops. And here's the decision. We have a Sicherung, inexperienced team with an LMG, safely tucked behind the small pseudo hill here at the start of the bridge. One the MMG team and the heavy weapon platoon commander. On the bridge itself, he was allowed to field 3 units at the beginning of the game. Now, you will notice these are the Grenadier squad. This is the 2nd MMG team, and this is the Waffen SS double LMG team. Unfortunately, we had to proxy because neither me nor Josh had the appropriate miniatures. Pretty sad, I know, apologies in advance, but we had to make do. Unfortunately, we have the sniper team behind another heavy cover back there, and these are the attackers, a whole bunch of veteran paratroopers. You can see the medium mortar, heavy machine gun officers, light mortars, and a whole bunch of angry paratroopers. The sniper will set up in infiltration near the small village here, and the spotter was standing at the edge of the small woods. And so it begins with turn 1, because the truck with the larger Waffen SS and the other platoon commander begins the game in reserve. Beginning of top of turn 1, the first shot and first dice goes to the US player. He elects to shoot at the MMG that was not on the bridge. He gets just a single pin, but unfortunately this is distressing enough for the for German artillerymen. Then when they decide to activate, they wanted to shoot back, they actually got a FUBAR and ended up running away. Unfortunately for Josh, this was kind of a portent or omen, if you wish, of what things were going to be. Then, for the rest of the first turn, not much was going on. Of course, you see the green wave. We jokingly refer to it as a wall, a green screen wall, stomping onto the table. You can see here one of the, on the bottom of the screen, one of the light mortars. Then we have two large units, one 6-man unit. Here, one of the large ones, this one of the smaller units. On the right flank, we have the heavy machine gun taking up shop, taking a look overlooking the road that goes below the bridge, another 6-man unit, and another light mortar going under the house, not inside, because there is a passage way just down here. You will notice that in another picture. So we go in turn 2. In the meanwhile, not much happens. Too much stuff is out of range, and basically the German player goes on ambush order for all the troops that are still standing on the bridge, waiting for the US player to make a move. And actually, a move they do. The one of the MMG tries to shoot at the larger command squad, but they go down and they end up getting just a single pin marker. Again, here you start to notice that the MMG, this was the MMG that FUBAR'd on the first turn. On second turn they ran back on the bridge. This time the Sicherung, the inexperienced troops, poking out their heads in order to shoot with the LMG, and the rest of the troopers either going down from the American bombardment, from the American mortars, or the long-range shots by the HMG. On the left flank, the large American paratrooper units that was behind the building here makes a run for it. It gets shot at by the double LMG squad of Waffen SS, and so basically the US player decided to go for a strong left hook, so to speak. So the two 12-man units pushing over the main access to the bridge, while the smaller units, the ad hoc troops, eventually end up going all on the right flank. Here on the left, they are supported by the larger officer unit and the sniper and one of the mortars. Actually, the light mortar comes under fire and ends up going down in order to avoid taking damage. Here you get an overhead shot where you can notice the 6-man squad starting to turn around the flank. This is the second 6-man squad. They also end up going up here on the right, and this is the other command group from the heavy platoon. We go straight into turn 3. Not much happening the first couple of turns. Of course, the distance is still pretty long, so 36 inches. It's out of range for many weapons yet, plus a lot of going down from one side and the other. This is where I was talking about the light mortar actually going below the house, so they are not inside of the building because there is just free room here. And this is where the light mortar eventually gets creamed by the double LMG Waffen SS team that is opposing them on the bridge. They are barely in range of each other, and over 2 turns the light mortar gets destroyed. So here we have once again the left push by the American paratroopers, and here the right push by the two ad hoc paratrooper teams, backed up by the officer in charge of the heavy platoon. Here is another shot from another angle of the battlefield. Here you can appreciate Davide here on the left moving up his troops, starting to make a run for the bridge. Here we have both players looking over the table, pondering their moves. Josh is kind of scared about all the enemy units, all the veterans that are running towards him, and is really struggling with his two wound rolls, while Davide is also somehow worried about taking unnecessary losses, because once again, remember that units that you wholly lose during a battle are written off your army list, basically, and so you are eventually you end up having less and less choice of what to field in the following battles. Once again, once all the turn 1 battles will be completed, I will make a brief recap video showing what's going on with the different army lists, what has been lost and what not. So the paratroopers are still pushing here on the left. They come under heavy fire by the defenders, German defenders on the bridge. Josh trying his best to pin at least one of the units. He decides to focus all his shots on these units, but not to much avail. Here you can see the officer that was behind the hill here has started to run actually on the bridge to provide some morale bonus for the bridge defender and to bring himself in range of some nice snap to action. So the Germans keep shooting. You see the 12-man squad that started the game here has taken some losses. Unfortunately, just 4 dead paratroopers in 3 turns is not much. They have 3 pins, yes, but they just don't stop. Davide hasn't failed a single activation roll, I think, and so they just keep coming. They just keep coming. Again, this is the command squad that is following them. This is the second, actually the other lieutenant decide to abandon the 2 6-man teams on the right, and he goes back here again to provide some morale to the advancing troopers. The light mortar got shot at, but only got pinned. There was no way to actually kill the unit here, and the other 12-man unit is just absolutely safe and sound and is getting closer and closer to the bridge. Turn 4 again begins with a large snap to action. We have a sniper that in the meantime has crawled inside the house, providing covering fire on the bridge, even though he achieved absolutely nothing. I think he killed like 1 model the whole game. He mostly hit, but he just couldn't wound to save his life. He just rolled only 1s and 2s. The now 8-man squad keeps attacking. The German players activates back with another snap to action on his own. In the end, he manages to pin more the unit. He went to 3, back to 2 for the activation. Now they're back to 3. They lose 2 more men, but there's still 6 of them. And again, Josh just can't wound to save his life. He manages some decent hits, but he just can't wound. And this is one of the problems with the abundance of veterans in V3. If you can't roll those 5, you just can't do anything to veterans. Now again, keep in mind, I designed the campaign, so it's on purpose that the Americans are all veterans, because this is what happened in Market Garden, so it's not the player's fault. Plus, keep in mind that the German player was under rather strict limitation for this battle, so he basically couldn't use any heavy weapon, so he really had to make do with what he had. So kudos for Josh to just sticking with it. You see the Sicherung trying their best. They are starting to get blinked somehow. Again, they try at least to pin the enemy, but not too much success, and eventually their dooms gets closer and closer, represented by the still untouched 12-man paratroopers team that basically wipe out the unit. They leave just 2 men standing, and Josh fails his morale check, and the Sicherung break rank and flee and abandon the scene, never to be seen again. Here in the center of the board, once again, the Germans are under heavy fire. This is the last moments of life of this MMG that despite being under fire of the medium mortar that it's on the woods on the American side, they actually get destroyed in a single activation by the American HMG. So just 3 dead. And Josh once again can't roll a 4+ to save his life, and the unit is wiped. Here you see that despite going down, here's when the light mortar gets actually destroyed by the double LMG Waffen SS squad that is still on the bridge. And here you see the other 2 ad hoc squads advancing on the right. This is the shot from the other perspective. Now it starts to become rather clean that the Germans will have a real hard time stopping the American left hook. And this is where actually Josh makes a bad mistake, because he brings his reserves on. Actually, he tried to bring them on the turn before, but he rolled yet another foobar. So the Opel Blitz decides to stick back in reserve during turn 3. And when he brings it in turn 4, for some reason that actually he couldn't explain himself, he realized the mistake the very moment he put the model down. So inside the Opel Blitz are the 8-man Waffen SS with 5 SMGs and 3 assault rifles, plus the other platoon commander with 3 SMGs. For some reason he thought that he would be able to use the vehicle-mounted MMG to wipe out the American HMG and then roll on the left flank, thus distracting the American and hopefully making him pull more resources onto the back. But then you realize that vehicle-mounted MMGs have only 3 shots, and the HMGs are exactly the kind of weapon you want to fire against a softskin. Apologies. Especially because the HMG has more range, has more penetration, has more shots, and so, yeah, the very moment he put the model down, he said, "Oh no." He didn't say, "Oh no," you can imagine what he said. Here is where the other medium machine gun that gets picked out by the opposing HMG, leaving on the bridge only the other Waffen SS with double LMG, the poor platoon commander and his own body, and here we have the other MMG and the here Grenadier squad that are basically desperately trying to stem the tide of greenskins that are running towards them. And so we get to turn 5. Again, now Josh is faced with in the beginning he tries to go. He goes with a snap to action. Again, trying to pump shots into the attackers. He kills 3 members of one of the 6-man teams with double LMG, but Davide easily passes his morale check, and the sniper is desperately trying to kill officers, because they ruled out that as an exception to the rule that a unit gets removed from the roster only if it is completely destroyed, aka you lose the order dice. In case of officers being sniped by snipers, you lose access to the team as a whole, because the whole point of a command team is that there is the commander. So he's trying, at this point, he's trying to at least kill off some American officers, but to no avail. Again, most of the time he manages to hit, but he can't roll a 4+ to 1 to save his life. And when it's time to move the Opel Blitz, he does the only thing he can once he realizes what the mistake is done. So he tries to run the Opel Blitz here, going on the edge, on the other side of the table, basically. But the HMG is waiting in ambush, and the Opel Blitz gets completely destroyed. In the ensuing explosion, the platoon commander gets completely obliterated. Davide rolls 6 hits and like 4 or 5 wounds, so the unit is destroyed. And the Waffen-SS loses, I think, 2 members as well in the resulting explosion, and they end up emergency disembarking around here. You will be seeing that in another picture. On the other side of the bridge, Davide keeps pushing. Now, it's basically clear that it will take a miracle for the Germans to actually hold the bridge. Now, let's remember, in order to conquer the bridge is the bridge controller is considered the faction which has the most units, not models, units on it at the end of the game. Now, technically, right now there are 4 German units on the bridge. Unfortunately, the pressure, the American pressure, is really building up, and so there is still time for the Americans to do a lot of damage. Even though in this particular case the whole 12 main units shooting at the regulars here only managed to pin them once, through a combination of poor dice rolling for once by Davide and some decent cover saving throws for once by Josh. Actually, this time, on this singular occasion, they don't get many kills, but it's still, the situation is still dire. Because once again, the Americans do not fail their rolls. Granted, it's not difficult rolls. The officer had 2 pins with their own morale bonus. It was a 10+ roll. The veterans had 3 pins. They had no morale bonus because the officer was too far away, and yet they sticked their roll and managed to keep moving. And this was really proving to be the Germans' undoing. Here you see there's another pin on the German squad, on the Grenadier squad on the bridge. No losses once again, but pinning, of course, it's huge. And here you can see that Josh wasn't particularly happy about the state of things. Basically because here on the left, all that he managed to do was to kill 6 troopers from this unit, and he eventually killed 1 regular guy from the command squad here. Here you see the wreckage of the Opel Blitz that I mentioned before, and this is the point where the Waffen-SS that were on board managed to forcefully disembark. Here in the north, you see that the troopers that were holding the bridge here are actually down here, and this is because Josh rolled yet another foobar, and so they all fled down the slope here, and this really was like the nail in the coffin. Again, the sniper trying his best, but just not succeeding. So we are on to turn 6 now. The defender in this kind of scenario, I ruled that they had the chance to basically give up the objective, give up the bridge and retreat with the units that are on the German on the defender side of the bridge, they are saved automatically. Troops that are still on the bridge, they die on a dice roll of 1 to 3. On a 4 up, they are safe while they emergency flee. Now, Josh could have retreated because it was pretty clear that he was not going to win this game. But kudos to him, he said, well, there are SS troops on the bridge. They would never retreat. I'm going to stand and fight. So kudos to him for sticking in despite the odds being clearly against him by now. Here, again, the American troopers are advancing. They are making it on the bridge itself, and they wipe out the other machine gun, the medium machine gun that was on the bridge. So right now on the bridge there are just 2 German units, one platoon commander with an attendant, and the Waffen SS regular team with the double LMG. And these are these 2 units actually. This is the Waffen SS LMG, double LMG team, and this is the lonely officer. In the meantime, you see that on the right, the 2 ad hoc squads have been pushing forward, mostly uncontested. There has been some very light fire thrown at them, but again to no avail, and they were getting close to the pylons that you can see here from the picture here, because again one special rule of the mission is that attacking troops, the American troops in this case, are equipped with grappling hooks. So if they begin their turn on the base of the bridge near one of the pylons, they are able to climb with a run order and actually get on the bridge. This, of course, is to avoid creating an excessive bottleneck on the single bridge entrance, and to open up more tactical possibilities to the attackers. This way he can actually spread his troops all over the front, thus forcing the defender to deal with multiple avenues of attack. Here you can see on the right the second Waffen SS team, the ones that bailed out the destroyed Opel Blitz, but unfortunately they failed their activation roll and went down like the cowards they were. Here, this was a moment of desperation. This turn, Josh decided that he wanted to at least try and save this unit of regular grenadiers, so they actually willingly ran back towards the end of the table. This is the dead pile, the German dead pile. These are all the lost order dice, and they are quite a lot, as we will see in a minute. And yet, as you can clearly tell from this picture, Josh was not happy about how things were going, and I can't blame him, honestly. The dice were against him, but he still tried. He tried his best, so kudos to him. Here is the 12-man paratrooper squad that are actually making their way on the bridge at this point, basically uncontested. So we go to turn 7, and actually the paratroopers are basically starting to mop up things. First they destroy the lone officer that was hiding back here. Here we have a picture of the Waffen SS trying again. They are not. I'm sorry. They are not, of course, the right miniatures, but we had to make do with what we had. They try to at least fire back one last time before being eventually destroyed, but they failed their border test and do nothing. The here Grenadiers have a resurgence of pride, and so actually move back to the front a little bit, trying to do something, but they don't manage anything. Basically, this is the dead German pilot that's been moved from the ruins here on the left. Here you can clearly see how many dice have been lost by the German. The Germans had 10 dice to begin with, while the US player Davide here had 11. At this point, the Americans only lost the light mortar, while most of the German troops were simply blown away. Here, the 2nd paratrooper squad making their way on the bridge themselves. The command team following suit. And here, the Waffen SS. Once again, they are not the right miniatures. I apologize. For their troubles, they get shot by a mortar that gets a hit that kills a whole bunch of them. They lose all but one guy, and he fails his morale and just goes away. Here again, the last of the SS again are getting shot at from all angles, while here you can see on the bottom that one of the ad hoc teams is preparing for the final assault. Oh, no, it was not killed yet. I'm sorry, I don't remember who they shot at, but they are basically cleaning up shop here. See, the mortars keep running in, MNG, HMG, everything, and this is basically over. The officer eventually gets completely destroyed. The SS are whittled down considerably. The 3 surviving members of the other ad hoc teams actually gets on the bridge, and finally the last ad hoc team actually moves on the bridge itself. They lose 1 model on the way in, but then they wipe out the last German defenders of the bridge. And so, at the end of the game turn, basically we call it day. The only surviving units for the Germans are these here Grenadiers, while there are 4 paratrooper squads on the bridge itself. And so we decide to just call it a night, actually. So in the end, these are the losses suffered by the armies. The Germans were basically tabled. The only unit that survives is the regular Grenadiers, while the Americans only lose 1 light mortar team. Now, I won't spend too much time right now speaking about my considerations about the balancing, but of course I am following all these battles because I want to actually try to fine-tune the various battles so that they can be enjoyable for both sides. And needless to say, so far it is clear and evident. The power of the veterans is evident. Of course, they also have more points. This is by design. Don't get me wrong, but still there were clear some balancing issues that I will take care of. So This, despite all odds, this was it for the battle. So Grave Bridge falls into American hands, and this of course will prove to be useful in the following turns of the campaign. We have now one last first turn battle to play, and this is the battle for the Arnhem rail bridge in the Arnhem sector. And we will have the second battles in both the Eindhoven and the Nijmegen sector. Once again, they will be bridge assaults mission, of course, with different maps, and there will be different points because some German reinforcements are coming to help the beleaguered defenders. So stay tuned for more Market Garden content. If you are liking this this campaign, give a like to the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to supporting me and to just motivate me into doing more and better content. Regardless, thank you so much for sticking with me until the end. I hope you had a good time. I'll see you in the next video. Until that time, as usual, be safe and ciao ciao.